Hello and welcome to day 16 of my Veganuary experience. As I mentioned yesterday, I received my blood kit test and the plan was for me to do it today. However, I haven't. Very boring reasons. One of the things that it recommends is that you have a warm shower, hottest shower before you do the blood test. The idea is that increases the blood flow, so that it allows you to fill the little tube up more easily. And for reasons that I won't bore you with, I just didn't get a chance to have a shower today, just ended up having a quick wash. So probably going to end up doing this test on Friday, tomorrow. But then it's occurred to me that if I post it, it's going to end up sat in the post for a couple of days before it gets to the lab. So not sure what to do about that, whether to do it on Saturday and then send it on Saturday. So just need to think that one through a little bit. Just need to check the instructions because it does seem to refer about doing it Monday to Friday and popping it in the post, etc. So need to have a look at that. Otherwise, nothing too much more exciting to report on. I am probably just needing to think a little bit about my diet, and it's probably something I should have thought about a while ago, really, because as I mentioned, we've pretty much cut dairy out of our diets. Certainly, we'd stopped drinking milk, cow's milk, some time ago. I still was getting dairy in other forms in my diet, cheese, cream, things like that, but not a lot really, just odd occasions. And I'm thinking about calcium. So whether or not I carry on with a fully plant-based diet at the end of the month, I think that I need to have a look at my my calcium intake. So I'm going to have a think about that today. I know that there are other good sources of calcium, particularly green leaves, spinach and things like that I think are good sources. So I am going to have a look at that and just make sure that I'm not going to end up calcium deficient. I don't think the blood test kit I've got tests for that. I will check, but I don't think it does. So that is something I just need to be conscious of. I know that there are medium-term implications of calcium deficiency, and certainly there are longer-term implications in terms of bone density and strength, etc. So that's something I definitely need to think about, but that would probably be useful information for somebody who hasn't gone maybe completely plant-based but has certainly cut dairy out of their diet. And there are lots and lots of good reasons to cut dairy out of your diet. I'm not going to go on about them too much now because that can end up getting a little bit controversial. There is plenty of information out there on the old internet about dairy products and why they might not be as good for you. My understanding, and I'm happy to be challenged on this, but my understanding is that pretty much the government promoted dairy products, certainly probably during and post-war, because it was a good way of getting calcium into our bodies. And who can forget free school milk, which I have to say I always detested, particularly on warm summer days. I'm sure it used to just get left out on the doorstep of our school early morning, and if it was a warm day it was sat out there. It wasn't refrigerated, it was kept in a warm classroom, and then you'd drink it, and it was just awful stuff. So I have to say I wasn't particularly keen on it. So that was clearly something to do with public health. Now I have to say, I think public health on the whole does do a good job. I'm quite sure there were very valid reasons as to why milk, particularly for school children, was encouraged and legislated for. I'm sure there are people of a certain generation who will remember people's diets being calcium deficient, etc. So very good reasons for that. I guess, like all these things, that was in the context of the time, certainly post-war. Probably an increasing population. There was a lot going on, so the context was very different then. Clearly, we live in very different times now. We know that there are other good sources of calcium, and when you actually start thinking about milk production and what milk is all about, just make you start asking some questions. Again, I'm not going to start preaching to anybody. That's not the point of these videos. I'm just the kind of person that thinks, why have we always done this thing this way? And I guess I probably live my life like that. I'm, happy to challenge things, and if they are valid, they will stand up on their own, and they are valid, and there is good reason, and therefore, that's fair enough. However, some things, when you challenge them, begin to think, I'm not entirely sure about that this is appropriate anymore. Dairy can fall into that category. Now, I have to say, I do like dairy products. There's some tension there, I think, between what dairy products actually are, and also therefore their production as well. Again, worth looking at. I'm not saying that dairy farming should be outlawed or anything like that. I'm not going to start preaching. It's up to, I think, people to make their own decisions about what's appropriate, and then the market should react appropriately. So, if enough people decide that they don't want dairy in their lives anymore, and that has an impact on dairy farming, then so be it. So be it. That's market forces at work, and that's in people making informed, intelligent decisions about their own diet and about where their food comes from. I think that approach works in every way, shape or form, and I'm always happy to do that. I'm not going to preach on about animal welfare or anything like that, because that's not what these videos are about. I think it's down to individuals to make decisions for themselves. Clearly, there's a point at which governments sometimes have to step in, and certainly in terms of public health as well, that they need to step in, and I think I don't want to get into any hot water about animal welfare, diet, things like that. It's up to individuals to make informed decisions. I'm doing my own research. I'll be coming to my own decisions about things, and I respect decisions other people make. I have probably got some interesting stories to tell later on in the month about situations where I've gone into slightly hot water, because I have gone on about animal welfare in the past, and quite rightly so, and I do have opinions about that, and it concerns me that some people just, don't seem to want to know. So if you still choose to eat products that come from animals after you've looked at the animal welfare issues, then that's your decision. It's your decision. What worries me is a lot of people eat animal products and they are not interested in one slightest moment about what the story is behind the food that they're eating, and I just can't understand that mentality. I think that's worrying. It's enough for me. I'm coming up to 10 minutes, so I'm going to cut this video short now. Hope your Veganuary is going well, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.